Good evening. Good evening. Welcome. We'll give people a couple of minutes, get in, and we'll discuss where we are, what's going on. Nice to be back. Nice to be chatting to you. Been a while since a public stream, so this is quite nice. Back in the fray. Yes, Barrett, I did. Thank you very much for today. And you shouldn't be here. Good to hear your voice. It's very kind, man. Hopefully we can discuss things with a little bit of positivity. Be nice. Interesting price action. We'll do the comparison stuff. We'll take a look at TradFi. See if we're believing what we're seeing. Fake breakouts. We'll discuss fake breakouts in a little bit. Remind me of that. Remind me of that as we're going along. We'll certainly have a discussion on fake outs. See if I can provide any help or just at least give you an alternate way of thinking about things anyway. Okay. I'm mega bearish. Changed my mind. Yeah, I don't know if I am. I don't know if I'm going to change your mind there. I don't know if I'm bullish enough here, like right now, to change your mind on a bearish thought process. Higher time frame, actually, like I just do the analysis, right? It will come through in that. So what we've got on BTC through here is, you know, pretty decent attacks of the highs. The other thing that we've got, and what I've kind of been trying to stress this week, is that when markets are approaching all-time highs, and we're what, like 3% off all-time highs, when markets are approaching those levels, the markets get more volatile. There's a lot more back and forth price action. The lower time frames are a fucking disaster to try and trade, and things get really challenging. So when we're looking at actively trading, when we're looking at managing emotion, things become very difficult when the lower time frames start to whip around the way that we have seen so far with BTC. And, you know, just this price action that we've seen over the course of May the 9th till here, you know, kind of nearly 2 weeks, it's been pretty back and forth price action. And that price action has been worse here, basically since the weekend, where it's been even more aggressive in that back and forth. That's simply because we're getting close to that all-time high figure. And when we do that, like I said, volatility tends to increase, lower time frame. There's a fuck ton of things that are going on. There's all sorts of different positioning back and forth. And there's also then the impacts of the other markets. We've still got news events that are going to be driving things or have the impact slightly. And it's just going to add to a complete fuck fest on the lower time frame. Now, when it comes to the higher time frames for BTC, I think we're set up in a really good position through here. So the higher time frames, 3-day, weekly, monthly, very solid position. This weekly setup is a lovely weekly setup. We've had the highest ever weekly close on BTC. Switch this to a line chart and we can see that here. Okay, so really nice higher time frame setups on BTC. But the lower time frame at the moment is kind of throwing a bit of a spanner in the works, especially in terms of people's mentality and thought process through this level, because it's starting to kind of flip-flop bias a lot. When you look at the higher time frames and when you look at the position we're in, there's nothing really to be bearish about from that higher time frame perspective. I think that this is a market that will eventually break into price discovery. It will have that move into whatever the total is going to be that BTC ends up pushing to. But lower time frame, I think, has the ability right now in order to change the bias of people quite quickly and easily, which is disappointing when the higher time frame looks as strong as it does. The other point of reference in there for us is that this is BTC's price action over the last 40 days. Okay, it's from here to here. Right? BTC is up around 43%, 44% in that period of time. That's a huge move from BTC's perspective. BTC's up a huge amount over the last 40 days. It's absolutely fine if BTC has a bit of a correction through here. Right? That's fine. Right? That's perfectly in line with expectations of the market after the market has done 44% upside in 40 days. Right? We can absolutely correct. We can correct sub 100K. That's still absolutely fine. There's a big level around 97,000. Absolutely fine. Right? There's no problems with any correction there, given what BTC has done over the last 40 days. And when you look at this trend and you look at the strength of price action that we've seen, and you could do the comparison to the stock side of things as well, this is a very, very strong market right now. So BTC, very strong. And so I'm giving you all the bullish side of things to kind of start things off. Really, the only area that the kind of the bearishness or the bearish thought process would stand some test is here, like 12-hour and the daily. This here has the potential to be a divergence up at the highs. We know we're still technically at a resistance point here with the kind of 106.5 region being relatively sticky. So again, lower time frame, I don't think that we can ignore the fact that, sure, there might be downside, but I still think that any downside should be bid. I still think that we're looking for the price discovery push. We're looking for the all-time highs, and therefore this area here around 97, I think, is the sweet spot. There's a really nice little patch just in here. This is a really nice little zone here. This is a very well interacted with region as well. Here, we'd run the round number at 100K. We get the move down here. This would be a really nice pullback to take advantage of from my perspective. And then similarly, the situation is still very similar on kind of the ETH side of things, where we'd like to see 2150s. And ETH is a very simple chart in terms of the analysis and the thought process. We'd simply like to see 2150s retested. That's a massive level for ETH. It has been since 2023. Really significant interaction point for ETH. We'd love to see that level. If BTC gets the correction, which we're looking at sort of 10% correction, then obviously ETH is going to also fall and probably fall more substantially. So even this move down here at 13, 14, 15%, you know, would still be on the cards if BTC suffers that higher time frame correction through here as well. So from my perspective, higher time frame very strong, lower time frame very choppy on BTC considering the proximity to all-time high. I think a pullback is not out of the question. If I, kind of really want to balance and hedge the argument here, a push from here also wouldn't be a surprise to me. I think that the one area of discomfort for crypto right now is probably this, and is probably the fact that the indexes are starting to diverge quite heavily across this set of highs. So you've actually got a very clear and easy short signal on SPX through here. You've got this declining momentum all the way through these three highs, classic triple divergence. You've got that represented both on the RSI and the awesome oscillator, nice little bit of double confluence. And you've got a really nice setup here in terms of shorting this and taking advantage of some potential downside. And if this rolls over, anything happens from a global perspective that's going to kind of push this over the edge, then obviously we'll see the impact on the crypto side of things as well. So I think that really is the one thing that was hanging over crypto at the moment. And I think that this is set up for that correction. I think this is set up to try and challenge some of the downside. There are several gaps on the indexes from some of the strength that we've had during the opens. And it wouldn't surprise me to see a run on some of those. Does it change things? No, not really. If I really wanted to try and paint kind of like a concerning higher time frame picture, you'd probably paint the fact that SPX is, lower high region market structure. You're still weeks away from knowing if that's going to be a reality or not. Right now, the bearish divergence is enough to play something from. Again, we just treat it the same as BTC. Corrections here are still worth bidding. Nah, this isn't reset. This isn't reset. this area here is like quite close in terms of comparison. But this is a lot tighter and doesn't have the same RSI structure in terms of reaching the overbought levels. So reaching the extremes. And you also don't have the same level of confluence that you have on the Awesome Oscillator, where you have 3 clear peaks. So this is a different setup that's still very easy and simple to play. CBS going live at the highs. Yeah, listen, at least I'm hedging my shit here, you know. This is the Awesome Oscillator. It works in a very similar way to RSI, and you're looking to utilize this to find slowdowns in momentum of the market, and also to give you an idea of where the strength is in the market. Always say to people, like, I could just trade just off this indicator here. I could basically just trade using this. I could get a very good idea about what the price action is actually doing when just taking a look at this. Gives you a very simple view of which side has the momentum and when that side is losing momentum. It's a better indicator than RSI. If you're only going to use one indicator, I'd recommend using that over RSI. The reason it's not reset is because the Awesome Oscillator here still supports the fact that this is valid. Okay, so this is still supporting the fact that this is valid with no crossover. It also is it's also one of those ones where in the simplest way possible, like the way that we would view this is that this is a great looking setup to try and capture some short side. And even if we wanted to play this super aggressively and you wanted to do this, this is absolutely worth finding out if this divergence has played out. Like, let's just say that you were concerned that the RSI had reached this reset point here. This is still absolutely worth putting your chips down to find out if this has actually played out or whether or not I'm going to be correct and this rotates to the downside. The risk reward you're being offered up here for this setup is too good and too easy. AO hasn't been trending down since April. It's been trending up. Like any relevant time frame, this is just strong. There's no trending down on this. Right? Like this is the only one here if you want to start kind of like looking across all of these sections, and you can't do that. Right? So you can't do that because you've had crossovers here, you've had lower time frame price action that's reset this, but higher time frames, this is absolutely just a clean trend. How can you be bullish on ETH when ETH BTC looks as it does? I don't know if I said I'm bullish on ETH. I think I just said that I would like to see it move into 2150s. Realistically, you can look at my trading and my approach as not giving a shit in terms of bullish or bearish. Like I don't even think it's worthwhile applying the terms to it. In fact, I fucking hate the terms bullish and bearish. I think they're the most annoying, like misinformation tags that you could possibly have. You know, like if somebody says like, oh, CBS is bullish. Let's say someone says, oh, CBS is bullish on ETH. Like, what does that mean? Does that mean I'm bullish for the next 5 minutes? Does that mean I'm bullish on the 15-minute time frame for a scalp I want to take? Does that mean that I'm bullish for the next 5 years? Am I bullish till the end of the month? Like, what does bullish actually mean? So the context is really important there. And like from my perspective, I don't like the terms. The way that I think about trading and the way that I've been taking my approach very much this year is, what opportunities will the market allow me to take that offer the best risk reward setups? Like I just demonstrated on SPX there, right? Simplified trading. So this here, if this tags into this level, this is one of the simplest trades that you can take through here, because the risk reward of trading based on higher time frame support being tagged is very easy and simple. Like fuck my feelings about ETH. Fuck other people's feelings about ETH. Like this is the equivalent of playing a poker hand because you have the odds to play a poker hand. Right? You might be sitting there with absolute dog shit, right? 7-2 off, but you play it because you're being offered the right odds to get involved. And that's basically what we're looking at on something like ETH here. Like if you tag this level, absolutely it makes sense from a risk reward perspective to try and play that. Right? So really nothing about like my thoughts. All I care about is where can the market offer me the right odds to get involved and try and take a trade and make some money. I'm sure on futures. No puts for this one. Are you holding BTC spot? Are you mostly in USD and stocks? I bought the stock dip far more strongly than I bought crypto. The only market that I added to spot positions to were Fartcoin. That's the only position I added to. I bought some ONDO. My exposure primarily, even from a crypto perspective, is in MSTR. So I rebought MSTR through here. So I did this back in 2023 as well. Instead of taking BTC exposure, I took MSTR exposure. It's a better vehicle for BTC exposure. I hate to say it to a crypto audience, but it's a far better vehicle for being long on BTC than holding BTC is. So yeah, I took MSTR exposure, 440 calls end of September as well. So yeah, like this is my crypto exposure vehicle here. RSI is just default, and MACD doesn't exist on this chart. This is the awesome oscillator. It's also default. Is anyone here even left holding a significant amount of BTC or just alts? I still think people are in the mindset where when BTC moves, they still take alt exposure versus taking BTC exposure. I think that's, you know, still the case, basically. But, you know, like what can you do? That's people are still looking for value. I think especially when you're like off the back of very poor price action. I think that, you know, jumping into the exposure vehicle of alts in terms of trying to get a gain back is also pretty simple. Yeah, I still hold miners. I still hold miners. You still have a position in the gay stock? No, I sold Grinder. Yeah, I sold Grinder. Still got a silver position? Fuck yeah. Fuck yeah. Grinder traded like an absolute monster. Like this shit's a wild chart, by the way. This was the trade. We're just longing in resistance, basically. So we're just looking for a breakout. But this shit is a wild chart. Like, look at this shit. Yeah, wild. Higher time frame view on the hype chart. Oh god. Well, I'm in shorting this in the Haven because I think that this is a shortable market. Like, I think this is a really shortable market. And the higher time frame view is also makes it very shortable. Yeah, I just think that this market is like a very easy short. Sweep the lows at 0.7. It feels like that feels like hyper aggressive to get down there. Like, we are losing momentum, but it feels like something would have to significantly shift in the market in order for us to get like that sort of discount. What are you talking, like 40%? Yeah, I mean, let me pull up a hype chart if there's like, if I've got a clean one here. Yeah, relatively clean, except for the historic side. All right, let's bin this. Okay, so, you know, like, yeah, I mean, like, if you just simplify this chart here, there's, you know, a couple of things from just my system perspective and just ease of, again, if we're keeping in mind, all I'm looking for is simplicity in the market, provide me with the best risk reward setups and I'll take them. This for me is kind of a trifecta of confluence that is very easy to play into. Divergences that are present on the daily time frame here. So you've got divs up into the highs here. You've then also got the fact that we're just into resistance. So that's obviously very clear and easy as well. This is just a resistance zone for us. So, you know, very simple, just taking the short baby pip style based on the fact we're at resistance. Then also the fact that we have all the way through this zone here. We've also, on this chart, we've also taken these highs. Okay, so we've also taken the highs there. And it's a very, very easy short side setup. Resistance, sweep of highs, divergence in play. That's it. It's like, don't care what the feelings are, don't care what the thoughts are, don't care what the fundamentals are. It doesn't matter. It's a very simple area to try and attempt to short. That's it. Yeah, I mean, invalidation is just breaking through here. If you start getting daily closes that are above 27.30, that's a problem from a short perspective. You know, also, we're talking about this. This is a thought process of trades taken in the shorter term. You know, I'm still net long when it comes to exposure. This is just looking at trading opportunities that are available. And like I said, I just like the look of this one. It's just a simple enough market to try and execute on. But this is the market that all eyes are going to be on. If BTC does manage to get into all-time high price discovery mode, then I think that the rest of this market then will start to see some movement. BTC has the same chart. It doesn't. It doesn't have the same chart, unfortunately. Right? We're at resistance. I don't have any confirmed divergences that I can play into. And I've had no movement through any high. So I'm missing 2 of the 3 factors that I have on the hype short. So, yeah, it's a nice try. Nice try, but it's definitely not the same chart. Like, if you're just saying it's resistance, then yeah, sure. But yeah, it's certainly not comparison to hype. Thoughts on charts like Moodeng and Goat worth bidding if we retrace on BTC? I mean, that's really a personal decision. Like, do you want to be bidding shit like that? Is it ever coming back? Is it ever going to do anything meaningful again? Is there just going to be new shit to replace it? Like, there's already, even since the last time that we just talked on a public stream, like, there's another 30 coins people are trading. Market selection is really important. Really, really important. Targets for Fartcoin, I mean, all-time highs based on the current trend. Yeah, no, I know. I understand what you're saying, Michael, here. So you're just talking about like the domino effect through the divergences locking in on various time frames. So like if you get a daily divergence here, it's absolutely a shortable market. 100%. Yeah. Like, and again, relative strength, David, yeah, important. So again, isolation there would be on, are you looking at trading opportunities or are you looking at spot bag holdings? Because two very different things. Like, do you want to hold those two in spot? Probably never again. Do you want to try and trade them? Sure. Is there prior success in that little kind of patch of green that we had going to be an indication of future success? I don't know. Why not go all in on CHF? Why the fuck would I want to hold CHF? What a bullshit currency. How to trade a day trading mindset to swing trading? I mean, that's a really difficult one. You know, it's something that I went through and it took a long, long time in order to do that. Very aggressive lower time frame scalper, moved into higher time frame swing trade positions exclusively. It's a long process. It's a very difficult mental shift to move over to that side of things. Tips for doing so: personal discipline. Like, it's all about personal discipline. It's all about making sure that you're aware of the fact that you're going to miss opportunities on the lower time frames now, and that's just something that happens because you're not interested in them. But when you get paid because you hit a swing position, it's a huge payout. Like, that's the biggest thing to keep in mind is you're not here for making short-term gains. You're not here so you can bump up your account $1,000 by the end of the week. Like, you're here so your account grows 5x over the next year. Like, that's the sort of shit that you're looking for. You're not interested in, you have to sacrifice those shorter time frame, lower time frame moves for locking in some of the trend-based moves that are possible that yield significant results. Where do you get your trade education from? Self-taught. Do you think AI is still a play in TradFi? No, I think it's robotics. I've been saying for a while what an easy play I think Tesla is. I think Tesla is just such a ridiculously simple and easy buying market. Like, it was a joke all the way down here. I was like buying at like 250s. Like, this market's like just ridiculous in terms of the value it shaved off. USD is garbage and you hold this shit? Have I spoken about my portfolio? Like, have I spoken about my currency holdings? You're fucking retarded, brother. Unfortunately. You're the classic retard on stream that just like makes up their own shit and then just starts typing about it. like, what do you want me to say to you? We covered Grinder, because that's what everybody was talking about. Oh, there's plenty of robotics plays out there. You can take a look at this. Like, this is like quite a lot of the robotics stuff that you can play into, like from different sectors as well. But there's like a few things in this list here that you can look into. Tesla's one of the biggest ones and probably one of the most simply overlooked ones as well. Like, everybody's still yapping about fucking electric vehicles with Tesla. Like, oh, electric vehicle sales are down. Like, we sold off 2% the other day because, like, Spanish sales were down. Who the fuck cares that fucking EV is down in Spain, man? These guys can't even keep their fucking mobile network up. Like, why are we worried about that? Like, Tesla is so far ahead in the robotics side of things. Like, it's just such an easy play for the future. What's the minimal hold time one would consider to be called a swing trade? That differs. That differs from person to person and also from market to market. People talk about swing trades in crypto. You're probably talking if you hold for 25 minutes, people are sweating like they've been in a swing trade. Like, that's the reality of crypto. Crypto is a far shorter time horizon for what's considered a swing trade. Most people would probably consider anything that you hold for several days to be a swing trade. When you look at TradFi, it means something else completely. From my perspective, a swing trade is something that's held for multiple weeks. That's really the basic definition. So multiple weeks of hold, and usually with substantial targets. The reason that term has become difficult to isolate in crypto is because very often when we talk about swing trades, what we mean is we're looking for big upside or big downside. And because crypto is very volatile, we tend to get those moves more readily than we do in TradFi. And so if you're looking for like a 30% gain in TradFi, that might take you 2 years to achieve. If you're looking for a 30% gain in crypto, it might take you the rest of the afternoon to achieve. Right? So that's why it, is kind of a blurred term when it comes to crypto. From my perspective, swing trading still revolves around time horizons, not just price targets. And so, yeah, multiple weeks usually is the basic definition. Thoughts on ALCX? Fuck you. Yeah. You catch in a stream for the first time in a while and you come in and drop that immediate, man. It's classic. Yeah, bots and robo-taxis are where it's at for Tesla. I think so. I think that's the obvious play. When do you think it's a good idea to invest in Tesla again? 3 weeks ago at 250. When the market sold off to the level that it did, I've been referring to the simple logic, and I've been referring to that a lot of the time that I've been doing kind of any content on Twitter and stuff. And, I'm relatively limited in the output I put out on Twitter at the moment. And I've been trading very simply. I've been executing very simply. When the stock market gave sell-offs that we haven't seen for 5 years or more, it was an opportunity to buy. Right? That's what I did. I just decided these are sell-offs that happen once every 5 years. Right? Tesla shaves 60% of its value every 5 years. That's a decent opportunity to buy. It's not much deeper than that. There's not much more thought going into it. There's no real TA going into it. It's just, this is a major company that is down 60%. That is a rare event, and I should probably do something about it. Yeah, just sitting in common stock for Tesla. Do you think RuneZeco has any potential for future upside, or was it a failed project? It's one of those areas that never really kind of achieved the wider participation that was required to kind of cement itself. but it's also something that I don't believe is just gone and failed. The market always looks for value somewhere. So I think it just depends on, you know, what that looks like and right place, right time situation. I don't think it'd be fair to just like write it off. You know, like there's value to be achieved anywhere, even if that's, you know, those small moves that we now have in the NFT side of things that, you know, kind of the glory days are long gone, but there's still value to be achieved there at certain intervals in the market. Yeah, RIVN. It's a juicy chart. It's a really juicy chart. A lot of potential for moving with it. That's good. Been trying to catch this breakout on silver again, just trying to do some leverage trading here. It's another Haven one. Just looking at trying to catch this break of this consolidation. This has just been a pretty long consolidation. I was drawing out the comparisons to this actually in the Haven stream this week. Just drawing out the comparisons of this chart and what happens if this is just what alts are going to look like. You know, we've had our big move here, and now we just spend the next 2 weeks just chopping back and forth like this. Yeah, it's an outcome for these markets too. Yeah, don't even start with the divergences. Holy shit. You just can't escape the ALCX stuff, right? And I'm actually long on RIVN as well. That's what makes it even worse. Or better. Maybe this is the redemption market. USD stables getting cooked. Fuck. When you have a small account, should you be taking profit more regularly on spot or looking for bigger swings? Nail Fartcoin and Pepe from the lows, take profit. If you're trying to grow an account, you should be taking profit more regularly. If you've got a smaller account size, you should be taking profit more often. You shouldn't be looking for huge winners. You can hit huge winners, but it's very good to realize the money from that. And the reason for that is when you have a larger account, you have more opportunity. You have more ability to spread capital. You have more ability to size up positions. So you should be looking to take profit regularly, and then you should put that profit to better use. Right? It's like, you know, you grow your account from 5K to 20K, and now all of a sudden you can still trade with, you know, 10K, but you can now pull out 5K as profit and, you know, go treat yourself. And then you can also dump 5K into shitcoins if you want to. Right? And then one of your shitcoins runs a 10x, and all of a sudden things are going crazy. Right? That's the dream outcome. But of course, that's also the situation, is with more capital comes the ability to be able to invest in more things, take more risks, and to still keep kind of your standard pot full. You were mentioned to remind you about the fake breakout. Okay. Yeah, okay. So what I really wanted to discuss with like the fake out scenario is a lot of the time it's just one of those things that you just have to take and then deal with the consequence. If you have a market that's setting up for a very good breakout of a level, then I think you just have to play it. Like, don't overthink it. One of the things that people do too regularly when it comes to breakouts in markets is they fail to believe a breakout because they've been stung too many times by the market faking those breaks. So it comes to a nice resistance breakout, you know, like the one I was trying to play into on Grindr and managed to capture, just because I know that this is a decent reference point of a higher time frame resistance, right? So we're like tapping into this resistance level and playing into it. You could play into it when it's confirmed if you wanted to as well. It's the same logic. But we're just believing the breakout. We're just saying this is a resistance level. We're believing the fact that it's going to break out. If it doesn't break out, then you're stopped on your position. All right? Shame. You took a perfectly acceptable, technically sound trade and it didn't work out. Right? Boo-hoo. That's an example of a good loss in trading. Okay, a good loss. You executed at the right time for the right reasons, and unfortunately, you didn't get paid out this time. But what happens is if you begin to overthink breakouts, then you end up in a situation where you start missing the ones that are real. So stuff like this one. You could be there and you'd be like, you know what? I don't think this is a breakout. I don't think this is going to stick. There's something dodgy happening on the 15-minute chart. I don't like the look of it. I'm going to short this here. I'm going to short this. And this is what you very often find is not only do people not believe the breakouts, but then they start trying to short into it because they've convinced themselves it's not going to materialize. So yeah, the best advice I can give you is take the trades as long as it's a legitimate level, as long as you've got valid reason to be entering at the point that you're entering, then take the trade. If it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. And that's disappointing. But when it does work out, right, it usually pays very well, especially if it's a significant level. And the other downside to all of that is that like the fake outs are the ones that stick in the mind, not the times that you caught something and were successful. Unfortunately, the things that stick in our brains are the negative side of trading and are the stories that are unsuccessful. They're not the ones that are where you actually made profit. The majority of people remember losses more readily than they remember wins. So that also then changes your mindset, changes your psychology when it comes to executing on trades. And yeah. This is feeling like it will end in Q4, like other cycles. Maybe. Maybe. Doge looking good on the 12-hour. I literally, as I was scanning this, I just noticed that it was green. Yeah, this is a nice reset. This is very similar to the silver chart. Very similar to the silver chart. Nice little consolidation. Bringing the RSI back down. Really nice. Obviously, if this got anywhere towards that 2019 zone, it would also be looking pretty good through here as well. Again, just I'm not really trying to like hedge stuff. I'm just in a position where I don't really have like a clear read in terms of, oh yeah, you know, I'm really focused on the downside here. I'm really focused on the upside. I think you can make an equally compelling argument for both sides of the market. And, you know, unfortunately, that makes me sound like a pussy that can't make up my mind on which way the market's going to go. You know, the reality is I don't have enough information yet. I think that this looks really good, but there's also reasons why this might correct. There's also reasons why it might just push into all-time highs. And that's the same with Doge through here. Now, this is a really good 12-hour consolidation. Looks as though it could absolutely readily break upwards, but at the same time, it also looks like the daily could do with a little bit more correcting and would produce a far easier signal if it was down here. Sometimes that's the thing with trading. Sometimes, you know, you don't have all the answers, and that's fine. You're not able to, you don't have to have like a very strong bias all the time that says, right, this is absolutely what has to happen because, you know, I've done my TA and this is what I think. Like, sometimes there's just not enough information. Sometimes you just need more evidence. We're constantly just like investigating the market. That's basically what your role is. Your role is just to investigate the market. It's to acquire as much information as possible on the market and then put that information to good use in thinking about risk reward for positions. That's it. I bought SPX at 49.50, but the opportunity on stocks is almost too obvious since everyone knew Trump could have just reverted his actions. Never heard so much retail talking about investing. Yeah. How much attention do you pay to BTC chart compared to what an altcoin chart says? Man, you're like posting like classic crypto questions. So this is the classic example of my alt looks good, but I'm nervous about BTC. Like I want a long Fartcoin because I think it looks ready to break out, but I think BTC looks a bit dodgy. And there is a relatively simple answer, but I guess it's not that simple at the same time. The simple answer is you should really only care about the market you are trading, because there's a point of correlation. You can always continue a correlation further back. People in crypto tend to stop at the BTC correlation, but you can actually continue that correlation a lot further. Like, for example, if Fartcoin looks good and then you look at the BTC chart, once you make that first step of correlation, why don't you also compare BTC to the indexes? And then when you're looking at the indexes, why don't you compare the indexes to the dollar? Like, why don't you continue that streak kind of going backwards of correlation? So my point being, if you think that Fartcoin looks good and you think it's going to break out, get long on it. You're trading Fartcoin, you're not trading BTC. So the BTC chart shouldn't matter too much to you. Now it does, because these markets are correlated, and we're correlated to the king, which is BTC. But if you're trading Fartcoin, keep Fartcoin as the focus and utilize your knowledge, TA, whatever you're using for it, in order to make your position there. The other big reason for that is that your analysis on BTC could be wrong. Right? So your analysis could just be wrong on BTC, and BTC ends up ripping higher, and then Fartcoin goes higher and you just missed it because you were nervous about something that didn't materialize. So that's also another very big point. People tend to do very rushed analysis on a market to try and convince them or add doubt about a position they want to take. Fartcoin looks good. You very quickly take a look at BTC. You say, oh shit, BTC's at a resistance point. I'm not sure it looks good here. I'm not going to do anything. And like the analysis is that quick very often. It's just like this quick little look over here. You decide it isn't in a great position, and then you're going to like not take your Fartcoin position. Your analysis could just be wrong on BTC, and then you're going to miss it because of that. Odds I wake up tomorrow and BTC is 110K. I'm going to put it as a 17% chance. Yes, someone called out Trump in the Haven stream the other day. It looks really decent here. It looks really decent. I think it's doing like a nice little, like as you say here, nice little higher time frame consolidation patch here. 12-hour looks as though it's moving away. Looks as though we're breaking clear of this. 4 hours in pretty decent shape. Yeah, I think this market actually looks all right. You got a good support level here at 1250s. You know, of any of the alts, I think this still has the potential to try and move. Yeah, honestly, Defender, I don't think your future look of 2025 is far off. TradFi obsession with Fartcoin is also unreal. Thoughts on PENGU? Very strong. Corrective market now, obviously, based on the fact that it is traded very aggressively. But I think this market looks really, really good through here. Like, we're obviously up at a resistance region now. We're doing a bit of a cool off. Higher time frames are starting to reduce from that extreme level. Are you planning on making videos about your Pokemon cards project? I've been thinking about going into this field as well. No, I'm not planning on doing like videos on that side. I think it's a little bit more difficult to do videos on that side of things. It's great talking about it. It's been great. It's been great doing business with people and, you know, getting shit done. That's been really cool to do. But yeah, I don't think we'll stretch into videos. Who knows? Like maybe in the future, but RIVN's been strong. Higher time frame here is pretty decent. Hourly is in a really good consolidation patch as well. Broke out of that really nasty loss of momentum structure through here on the 12-hour. This is basically what we're hoping like SPX and BTC do. So it look like they're diverging. Play out this. Like, this is basically exactly what SPX did on the 4-hour last time. And then it just rallies into fresh highs. Really good looking market. Weekly's in a nice position as well, showing strength. There's a lot of markets that we have through here which are just like really big, steep market structure paths. ONDO is a very, very good example of that. And you'll see my stop type position on here. But ONDO is a very good example of where you just have this like really big, sweeping, broad market structure. So on the weekly, this is still an uptrending market. You have your high, your low, your higher, your higher low. So you've just got this huge structural market that means it's very difficult to hold even though we're uptrending, because you know you don't want to be holding this shit, right? You don't want to be drawing down 80% on this. But this is still technically an uptrending market. So like you'd still be aiming for here if this confirms as the higher low and manages to push. Yeah, enough of the children's card games. Tell us when to go long on PP and poo-poo coin. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Pokemon stuff is flying. Absolutely flying at the moment. I really like ONDO as a setup. I think, again, when you look at that structurally, and you see that market where it's trading down at a higher low scenario on the weekly and we're 80% down off the high. To me, it just looks like an opportunity market. PENDLE, I think, is good as well. I think it's a bit similar to AAVE in the way that it's, you know, trading through this zone of consolidation and managing a clean break. It's been good today as well. And Sol, we'll cover off Sol as the last market here for tonight. And I think Sol is a very good looking higher time frame market. I think it's a very clean, strong signal based market. And really what I'm saying is that the weekly time frame is the one that did the sub 100 dip. It did the run of 100. It got down to double digits. It freaked everybody out. It recovered very well, and it regained this bottom 130 weekly level. See on the monthly as well, the monthly just actually held support at 125. So we actually managed to just save this level through here. And we can see that, you know, there's been a lot of interaction sub here. We recovered on the weekly. Really good recovery. And now we're just in a situation again where the higher time frames are cooling off. And I think that Sol is a little bit more advanced in the cool off as well. So, you know, I really think that Sol is also in a very, very good position here. And I like the way the higher time frame sets up. You know, for me as kind of, you know, spot holdings and thinking about portfolio, I think that Sol represents simple strength in the fact that it recovered through that 130 level and it held on the monthly. Super simple. All right. Thank you very much. I appreciate all of your time. Big thank you to Blofin as well for sponsoring the stream. New sponsors, going to be doing a lot of stuff with them coming up. Go and sign up with the link that I put on the tweet for this, or the one used for the promo, because there's actually a really good, easy to achieve bonus on there. And, you know, yes, I'm sponsored by them, so I'm going to say this shit. But also, it's actually really easy to get the futures bonus. You basically just make a deposit, trade a certain amount of volume, and they'll just give you a bonus. It's like, it's that easy. So it's a really good way of just adding a little bit more size to your account. So yeah, so as I said, just hop in, use the link. You'll automatically be signed up for the bonus code. So then you can just make your deposit and go from there and trade. So yes, sponsored to say it, but at the same time, it is like, I was surprised with the deal that they gave me in terms of how easy that is for people to achieve. So if you are looking for a little bit of extra juice, they're paying up to 5,000 in terms of free payouts, depending on how much you're depositing and trading. So go ahead and take a look at that as well. And a huge thank you for joining me on a Tuesday night to look at the markets in a situation where BTC is trading just shy of all-time highs, where anticipation is building of a potential all-time high breakout. But we've got TradFi markets that are teetering a little, that are potentially weakening through their highs. We've got alt markets that still look as though they could have a little bit more correction. So we need a little bit more evidence in terms of being kind of concrete in our thought process. If BTC pushes through the all-time highs, if it makes that move, then I think the good times will come back for alts for a little bit. And when I say the good times will come back, I think we'll get those trading conditions in which it becomes easier to just press the green button and make some money versus the choppier conditions. But for now, lower time frame volatility is going to be up as BTC approaches this area. When BTC is trading through that all-time high vicinity, it's going to get a little bit rougher. It's going to be a little bit choppier. There's going to be more back and forth price action. You're going to get whipsawed around on your alts as well. And that's also going to happen when BTC eventually makes that push through all-time highs. There's going to be lots of volatility around that in that event as well. So important thing right now, from my perspective, maybe from your perspective, I'll certainly pass it on as my advice. Look for the clearest possible signals the market can give you. Look for the simplest possible markets. Look for the easiest risk reward, because the one thing you don't want to do is get chopped up in these regions and then either be pissed off with trading and not bother looking for the breakouts when they actually happen or the corrections when they've finished, or wipe yourself out during these patches so you haven't got enough capital left to take advantage of the next moves in the market. So when we're in these choppier periods of time, try and lay off the trading a little bit. There's no rush. There's no clamor to get in and, you know, just be fucking putting size on the table and smashing green buttons or red buttons or everything else. Like, you don't need to be super active during these periods of time. Let the market make its next move, and then when it does, you can tail in behind it. There's nothing wrong with that at all. Like I said, BTC 45% up over 40 days. You just need to press the green button on one of those days and you can make some money. It doesn't have to be right now, this second. It doesn't have to be you sitting at a PC for 16 hours a day looking for a trade opportunity. Let the opportunities come to you. All right, massive thank you again. I'll be here next week. So everybody have a good rest of the week until then. Good luck out there. Hopefully able to celebrate with everybody next week with some all-time highs and some good price action. But enjoy the rest of the week and best of